Cyclops, the Eggman. Welcome to the Underground Society podcast. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Awesome, man. Happy to be in the new year, and everything so far is going well in the year. So how's things been for you? How's the new year?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Really excited. I got a lot of shows coming up for this first quarter. Yeah, we're getting some releases set up, and it's looking pretty good. We got our first festival booking the other day.
Congrats. Looking bright this year. Well, I want to bring it back to kind of the beginning. So if you could tell me kind of how the Cyclops project came to be, how you got into music, kind of how everything started pre that time.
Yeah. So I got into music. I guess I don't know how far to go back, but I guess I got into rock music in middle school.
Okay.
Like Metallica, AC/DC, stuff like that. And I started playing guitar in the 8th grade.
I used to love that stuff.
Yeah. Started playing guitar in the 8th grade, and pretty much right around that time I got into recording. I really wanted to make my own songs on the computer. And so all through high school I was making rock and metal stuff. So that was kind of the first foray into production for me. And then when I got to college, my roommate was really into electronic music, and he kind of showed me all this stuff. At that time, this was 2015, so Jack U was really big. Getter, Ausla, all that stuff. And yeah, so I started getting into electronic music and realized, now I don't have to be in a band. I can just be one guy, a producer. And that was really interesting to me. So that kind of went full into the electronic thing, and started Cyclops in 2016.
Okay. What initially with the popularity of almost a different genre kind of at the time that was hot, and what got you into it? What kind of caused you to make dubstep?
I really liked what Jack U and the Ausla stuff was going on. I really like Getter. Just really wild dubstep stuff, festival style stuff.
I'm surprised. What do you think about the whole Getter when you kind of switched directions?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was a huge fan of the old bro step stuff.
Yeah.
So the melodic stuff's really good. It just wasn't exactly what I wanted.
Very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people, it's when you have an established brand of Getter, it's to go in and change. That's fine if you want to make different music, but maybe start a side project or something, because people identify certain projects that once they get to that level with different sounds. So yeah, it's a risky move for them, but
yeah.
So with that being said, I haven't really talked to anyone that started out with being on Disciple Roundtable, and I feel like they really supported you early on.
Yeah.
And was that kind of the first kind of big group or label that supported you?
Yeah, I think so. So prior to that, I had been on Base Weight. That was kind of the first big heavy dubstep label release I was on. But Disciple Roundtable definitely felt like a moment for me. I felt like I was kind of leveling up and starting to get a little bit of recognition for my heavy dubstep stuff.
Right. Well, how did that kind of all start to take place with Disciple?
Yeah. So in 2019, I started working with a manager, and we got a little more clear on what I should be doing. Because prior to that, I was kind of in between heavy dubstep and melodic stuff. So we kind of focused in on just the heavy stuff. And all year we had been sending stuff out, and nothing was sticking. People weren't jumping on stuff. And then towards the end of the...
What was the first song that really caught on?
As far as getting signed, or
yeah, getting signed and all that.
I'm trying to think. I had a song "Bite" that got played out at Lost Lands.
Okay.
So I had some Lost Lands playouts, and I was able to kind of leverage that and be look at what's going on here. And that kind of helped get my foot in the door.
Sweet. What were you doing before Cyclops? Were you producing at all, or was that kind of you started producing and Cyclops was what you first went after?
So in 2015, I kind of went all in onto electronic music production.
Okay.
And kind of jumped around some different aliases and didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I don't know, I guess Cyclops was the one that stuck, and I knew I kind of wanted to just make big sounding music, which is kind of where the name came from.
I think it's super interesting how you've incorporated the whole egg thing too. I know I started off this conversation with calling you the Eggman, but how did that when did that come along?
That started last year. Or I guess 2021 now. The last year was 2022. 2021, somebody just randomly DM'd me egg, and I responded with egg, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit, and I posted that on my story oh, I love connecting with you guys. And then people just started messaging me egg, like a ton of eggs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, kind of just like
It
blossomed
literally
from
just
there.
happened by itself organically. That's cool. Yeah, I think it's super cool and important that people like recognize not only with I know Cyclops and Egg doesn't really have anything to do
Right.
necessarily together, but it almost is. It's turned into like almost like your character or like your mascot for the Cyclops brand.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the top people, you look at Excision with dinosaurs, you look at Subtronics with even with him with the Cyclops thing.
Right.
Talk about how important it is to almost create a character for a project, since we see so many of the big guys do it.
Right. So I guess prior to that, I mean, obviously trying to get something with eyes to
Yeah.
stick. It's funny that like the egg thing is the thing that stuck. It's just like some shit post joke. But I kind of love that about it, that it's just like this one big shit post that everybody's in on. And yeah, so since people have like been gravitating to it, we've been leaning into it more and trying to, make content around it. Like we just did a like 5-track EP of remixes called Merry Eggsmas.
Yes, which is amazing, by the way. Yeah, your
you.
Marshmallow remix is so sick.
Thank you. Yeah, so just try to make like little egg pieces that all tie into that. We'll probably end up trying to do like some egg visuals, maybe some like egg merch
Sweet.
down the road. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's just like once you have that character, it's like so easy to, like you said, create merch or like just
Right.
grow the idea and make it a part of like what people almost notice you for too.
Right. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
important to definitely find that. It's kind of just tricky. It's whatever sticks with people, I guess. Just
Have you ran
trial
into
and error.
any trademark issues with Subtronics, or has that ever been an issue?
No,
I
we're
know,
good. We're good.
I know you've released a song with Sonia, and you've released on his label. So I think
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have a great relationship. But has there been any confusion between? I'm sure there has, but between you and Subtronics.
A little bit with the label. People think I like work at the label, so they'll send me stuff.
Ah, got it.
Like, I'm not your guy. But when I started Cyclops, I had like never heard of Subtronics at the time. Like I was making Bro Step. He was in Rhythm, and he was like a lot smaller then. And eventually, like we knew of each other and like we were friendly with each other. And so we've had the conversation before. He's all good. I'm all good. He understands, there's brand overlap all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it happens with so many people. I mean,
yeah.
it does happen a lot. Going back to the egg thing, was that really what like cemented that for you? Was like you finally got people's attention and it started like growing since that, or were you already kind of on an upward trajectory by the time that happened?
So I feel like as far as like music goes and maybe signing music, I was doing pretty well signing like stuff with labels and stuff and getting playouts prior to that. But I feel like from like an online standpoint or like building some kind of momentum behind the project, the egg things definitely helped. Making just like jokes online and shit posts, just
You're very
leveraging
good
a
at
lot of
that.
online stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the egg thing definitely ties in with that. But like this past year for sure, definitely feels like I've started to get some momentum in that regard.
Yeah, even your tweets, man. Some of your tweets are lethal.
Thank you.
It's so funny. What other things have you done to, I guess, gain people's attention as you started to build your project?
Yeah, it's been kind of like a lot of trial and error. Some things have worked, some things haven't worked. Like when I first started out, I was doing a lot of YouTube tutorials, and so people started knowing me for that, but they didn't really care about the music side of things. So I was like putting all my energy into tutorials, and people were asking me for, oh, can you make this tutorial? And at the time, I thought like, oh, I'm killing it, but then no one would go listen to my music, and so I kind of had to like make the decision. All right, if I'm really want to be known as like a producer and go play shows and stuff, I really got to like double down on the music and kind of step away from YouTube.
I looked at your YouTube. You've been on YouTube for what, 6 years now, something like that.
I think so. Yeah.
Than that, yeah. It's like early, like minute-long clip videos of tutorials and stuff. I watched a couple of them. It's cool to see.
It's just like been like a lot of like phases of that, of trying different things and seeing what works.
Being able to watch you and find out I didn't even know who you were until 2020, I think. And then being able to see you play Lost Lands and see you play some of the bigger shows. And I wanted to talk about even your tour coming up with Atelians that you just announced.
Yeah.
How did that kind of fall into place?
So I was kind of friendly with them. So we did a collab in 2021. I was kind of friendly with them before that, like sending them music a lot of the time. They were playing my stuff out. And I posted a whip on Twitter, just like asking who should jump on this, and they were really interested in it, so we started the collab, and that ended up being customer service, our collab. And then from there, we just like had nice relationship. They're very friendly, very helpful. I ran into them at Lost Lands, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, we're getting a tour going. You should jump on for a couple dates. We're going to Boston," and I'm from Boston, so
Oh, cool. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, it was kind of just worked out like that.
Are you just helping? Are you going on the full tour, or just like a
I'm
certain
on a
leg
couple
of it?
dates, just like some East
Okay.
Coast dates. Yeah.
Got it. That'll be awesome, man. Do
Yeah.
you have any more collabs or anything in the works with them, or?
Nothing at the moment. Got some other collabs in the work that I don't know if I can talk about right now, but yeah.
Cool. You mentioned working at a radio station. Do you work for just like a local like radio station in
just
Boston?
a small little radio
sick.
station.
What kind of music is?
It's like mostly jazz and like easy listening stuff. We have some like blues programs, some like discovery programs where you'll just like hear a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then like some talk show stuff. And so a lot of weeks I'm like editing talk shows and scheduling shows and like the back end stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your specific like position there?
What's
your title?
I guess I don't know what my title is. I don't really have like a title. I guess I'd say like radio engineer or something. But
okay, cool.
I do like all the back end stuff, like editing and scheduling for the radio every week.
How'd you get into that?
So I went to school for sound recording technology, which is just like recording bands in a studio, all types of like recording type stuff. And I liked that radio is kind of like a 9 to 5 type job, because a lot of like studio work ends up being late night sessions or all over the place. So it was kind of nice having just like a standard 9 to 5 job weekdays.
Yeah, and then being able to travel on the weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself doing that long term?
It's definitely comfortable right now, and obviously it works well with the playing shows on weekends.
Yeah.
But I would like to go full time with production. Not quite there yet, but
yeah. What's your plan to go full time?
I hopefully by the end of the year. I guess I don't know for sure. Just however expenses work out and stuff. But yeah. I would really like to by the end of the year.
That's so surprising to me sometimes when people are like they see people like you, or they're like, oh, you have tons of label releases, you're playing huge festivals and stuff, and it's like you're still not like full time. Yeah. I think it's so crazy for people to sometimes find out about that. I honestly thought you were full time music. I didn't know you were. That you had a second job too. So how did you learn how to do production?
Mostly just online, like reading forums and YouTube videos. I think back in the day there wasn't as many resources as there are now, so it was a lot of just like reading forums and somebody just like, oh, I think I figured out how to get this snare sound, or that was kind of like the start of it for me. My dad was in like rock bands like before I was born, so he had like and things, so thankfully I was able to start recording with some of the equipment he used to have. Just got like my foot in the door.
Something that I noticed you did very successfully, and something that I think that we've all kind of had to learn how to adapt to do, is the whole transition with social media, especially Instagram, going from like very like written content into like video content, or like just pictures into video. And I think that probably in the last year, you've really gotten into posting a lot more reels and stuff like that. What kind of gave you that push to start making that kind of content, other than like the transition, obviously everyone had to make?
Right. Yeah, a lot of people just got kind of like pushed into it because, forced to. I don't know. I've always liked making videos, like especially with like, I did YouTube prior. Even before that, I was making like stupid videos with friends in high school, making like videos for school and stuff like that. So I've always liked making videos, and I guess, when it came along that we did like, start making reels and like short form content, it was interesting to me, and I do have fun like trying to think about like how can I make this as compelling as possible, and just like 15 seconds or less. And I like the kind of like strategy or game behind it, because some stuff doesn't stick, some stuff does stick, and try to analyze what about the stuff that did work. That's all very fun to me.
How have you learned to like, I guess, change when things aren't working? Because I think that's important too, is like noticing when things aren't working and knowing when to pivot or change. What has been like one of your biggest pivots that you've had to make through that process?
So I kind of started with TikTok last year.
Okay.
I was making a lot of like comedy content.
Dude, I did not want to get on TikTok for like the longest time. I was like, I don't want to. And then now that it like kind of switched from like dancing and comedy to like more,
I'm really glad it got like self-aware. People would realize like how cringy it was.
But you started there. And then
so when I started on TikTok, I was making like music production content, and it did okay, but it wasn't really clicking with people. So I just started trying to make like general comedy content, and that started doing a lot better. I was making like cum jokes and stuff, and for whatever reason, that's like what stuck. And so that worked really well. And then things were growing on there, but then again, I had the problem of people like the cum jokes. They don't really like they're not here for the music. So I kind of stopped doing TikTok for a while. And then a few months ago, I've been like going heavily on Instagram, making just like these, clips in front of my mixer, like showing off remixes and things like that. And that's been doing really well. And so that was kind of like a big pivot moment, I guess, from going from music production to comedy. That was one pivot. And then going from realizing the comedy's not helping drive the music, that was another pivot to get focused back on the music stuff.
Do you know who Hayes is? He's released under Dead
Oh,
Beats.
yeah.
Yeah, his comedy is fantastic, and
so
he's like
good.
one of the main DJs who I know that does really well on TikTok. But he was saying, because I had him on the show as well, and he was saying how like, since he does do the comedy, anytime he pushes his music or puts something, he even tries stuff in the background or anything, they like. I don't know if it's like that now. Maybe they fixed the algorithm, but it like completely tanked his numbers whenever he posted anything about music. And like whenever he posted anything about comedy, it would always do really well. Have you ever experienced anything like through those transitions where,
I was gonna say, so the music stuff's doing really well on Instagram right now, but when I post it to TikTok, it completely flops. And I think the reason is, early on, TikTok kind of like figures out what your account's supposed to be, like what your niche is. So like, I was making a lot of comedy content, so I think it decided I'm a comedy person. Yeah. And now that when I post the music stuff, it's like, oh, this doesn't fit into what his followers want or what the algorithm is supposed to serve. And now everything just like flops if it's not comedy.
You know what's interesting is in other countries, so like I think it's like in China or something, or I think that's where TikTok is from. They have like more educational type videos.
Oh, I heard that.
Like, yeah, they'll have like Discovery Channel type videos, like and like it's all educational, and that's like what they push, and that's what's like popular over there. But then over here, they like completely have a different algorithm, and it's like all just like dancing and like goofy shit that Americans are just like, yes. I think what I was gonna compare your videos, especially in the last couple, I saw you post one earlier today. But I think the other person that does a good job at that is Amorphic. Did you get any inspiration? Because I know he's been doing that for a minute. Yeah. That's how he gained like his big traction. Did you pull any inspiration from guys like that who are like, oh, that seems to be working, but let me try it?
Yeah. Him and a lot of other people are doing that. And I've been noticing like for a lot of people, it's been doing really well.
It's almost like a trend for DJs. It's been like,
Yeah.
Or like producers. That's awesome. What I want to talk about your egg mist thing, because obviously it ties into your brand a lot. What was like your game plan going into that?
I guess I had a couple of these like remix videos that had done really well, and so we were trying to figure out how we should release them.
That you put on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
So the ones that had done really well, we're kind of like making notes of, all right, we should probably get this one out. We should get this one out. And so I was just thinking about putting out the Grizztronics one. And I was going to like kind of string them along month after month, do like a bootleg remix. And then my manager had suggested, oh, maybe as like a Christmas thing, like we just release, the best 5 or something. And immediately like I got the idea of like Xmas, like instead of Xmas. And we're like, oh, the idea is all here.
Perfect.
We got it.
Yeah.
So that was
awesome.
kind of that.
Has it done the numbers that you were expecting it to? Has it performed well and everything?
Yeah, it did really well. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah, I know everything that you included on that is a free download as well on SoundCloud, right?
Yeah.
For the producers listening, go ahead and snag those. I know the producers that I hang around, my roommate actually, he snagged your Marshmallow one. So,
nice.
He will be playing that at his next show. Yeah, I think it's so awesome, man, that you've included the whole egg thing into your brand. It's so like funny and just something that people can catch on with. I was gonna go back to that and ask you, what would be your suggestion for someone? I know that's gained you a lot of attention and stuff. What would be your suggestion to someone who maybe struggling with getting the attention in their current music? Or like they've been doing it for a couple of years and they're like, man, I've tried everything in the book. What do I need to do to like hit that peak?
I guess one thing I had to ask myself like early on is like really take like a good look at your music and ask yourself, is it up to par with other people's music? And if it's not, then you really got to like put in the work to make sure you're at that caliber. And then the other thing I would say is probably getting more serious about posting online content, because I think that's a whole like, you know, content and branding. That's a whole other like domain that I feel like doesn't get enough attention from a lot of producers.
Yeah, a lot of people just post like flyers they're playing and like I don't even know who this person is unless
Yeah.
like it's like, and then the people who are, you know, actually starting to be successful actually have like almost like a comedy, or like they have a strong intention behind their brand, or like they have like a reason for being there, and that it's they
Right.
that's what they put on social media. But yeah,
I think trying to make a connection with your fans is like a big next step, and trying to figure out what exactly that looks like for you. Like for me, you know, it's making jokes online, but for other people, it's, you know, making some kind of educational content. Some people do podcasts to connect with people, or so finding out what works for you.
I'm happy that I can be a platform, but I don't know. There's only been like a few artists who have created podcasts, and I think the ones that have, like, I think are Jaws did one during COVID.
Yeah.
There's another one with Willie Joy, but they've all like immensely helped their music career too, because it like you said, it's a place where people can go to find out more information and get to know that person for who they are. Yeah.
Right. Podcasting is great for that. You're like, you're actually watching them, you're hearing them talk. And, I think of like Taboo's podcast.
Oh, Taboo's another one
too. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Have you listened to Wakan TV? They've only done like 6 episodes, but it's Liquid Stranger and Loper.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
It's super good. Yeah, and they have like high quality cameras and stuff. It's a cool thing to watch on YouTube as well. So people who are listening right now, and you, go check that out. Shout out to those guys. Tabu is a really good podcaster.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing anything about, you know, growing more of your YouTube, or getting into and, you know, starting your own podcast or anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely want to do more long form type stuff at some point in the future. I'm just like very busy right now. So it's definitely on my radar to do something like that, whether it's a podcast or some kind of vlog or tour thing like that. That would
be sick. That's been an idea for me too, is maybe creating like a vlog type thing with the Underground Society brand later on. Do you currently watch any vloggers or anything like that?
I watch a lot of YouTube. I've definitely watched vloggers in the past and gotten very invested. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some names.
Well, I think I watch more vloggers than I do like TV.
Yeah.
I'm very into that. But yeah, that's something that people haven't done yet, is, you know, artists, or, you know, even a publication has done, is like really like started a vlog and like made it good enough to like YouTube standards. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like no one's really done, like there's been podcasters and stuff, or like people who have gotten famous influencers on Instagram or something like that. But yeah, no one's taken the leap yet to start the vlogging. I don't even know, like, cause I think the YouTube algorithm now is favoring more like the game shows. I don't know if you watch like Mr. Beast or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
And they're favoring more that kind of content versus like, I don't know if the vlog thing would even like, maybe people would be interested, but it'd be kind of a hard medium.
Right. I think people like David Dobrik or like Logan Paul, they've like kind of gone this route where like not only are they doing a vlog, but like the vlog needs to have some kind of like event that happens in the vlog that, you know, becomes a title or whatever. So it's not really so much vlogging anymore, it seems like, at least for that type of stuff.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see, like, I think you know who did it? Was Sullivan King. Sullivan King did he does like a little vlog thing. He's not like super consistent, but he does do like tour vlogs and stuff.
Back in the day, I think Getter did a tour vlog.
Yeah, Getter still knows like some of those big YouTube guys.
Yeah.
That's funny. Throwback, man. Other than the Atelian stuff, is there any new music coming out soon? I know you just released Egg Mess, but do you have stuff in the works?
We're trying to get
that
stuff
you
signed
can
right now.
tease.
Yeah, I had like a huge writer's block last year, so I'm like just starting to get my momentum back. So nothing queued up quite yet, but I'm definitely getting stuff finished now, and we're in the talks of getting like an EP going and stuff.
Awesome. So the song, how many releases did you have last year?
I think we rolled out an EP like pretty slowly. Okay. So it was kind of some singles leading up to the EP. Maybe about like 8 songs, 8 releases, I'd say. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, because I thought, was that all throughout how long was your writer's block?
I was kind of in a place where like I wasn't sure what I should be making or exactly how I should like sonically what it should sound like.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a lot of experimenting for like 6 or 8 months. But now I feel a little more confident as to like what I'm making, what I should be making.
Yeah, I would imagine, I've heard from other people that like even like making the bootlegs for, you know, your Eggman stuff, Did that help? Kind of, were you able to kind of try things out throughout that process of writing that?
Right. The all these like Instagram videos have definitely been helpful where it's just like I can just
because
try
you're doing
new
it for
things every day.
content. You're doing
Yeah.
it for content, but then it's also helping in the back end your writing process and stuff. That's cool.
Right.
Very cool. Awesome, man. Well, and anything else that you'd like to tease going into next year?
Um just
Or this
lots of
year, I
shows
should say.
coming
It's
up.
2023.
Yeah.
It's the 6th, 5th. Holy shit.
Yeah. Shows, music will be coming. We'll definitely be doing more merch. All good things coming up.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time today. We'll wrap up here. Where can the listeners get in touch with you?
Twitter, Instagram, always responding to stuff. So
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
One more question before we get out of here. If there was one piece of advice you could tell yourself when you first started producing music, what would it be?
focusing on the music early on and just trying to
Yeah.
get better at producing and writing good music, because I feel like once I hit a certain point with that, things just like doors started to open and everything started changing. So really like doubling down on the learning and getting better process.